So now, speaking of missing, let's talk about Beyonce, because the word on the curb is people trying to figure out where the hell is Beyonce and what is happening with her. So, um, Beyonce, as we know, is one of music's biggest names, a global household and a global household name, meaning she shouldn't be hard to keep track of. But apparently, nobody knows where she is or why she's vanished, although some sinister theories are floating around. Now, this story came from page 6, so let's just entertain it. And then we'll talk. I'll let y'all know what the tea is, and then we'll break it down. So it said, with her once blazing country album, Cowboy Carter, already going the way of the tumbling tumbleweed, biz vets say the superstar has inexplicably gone AWOL, and insiders are muttering that it might be because she and husband Jay-Z are nervous about showing their faces during Diddy's vast abuse scandal, lest they draw attention to their longtime friendship with the disgraced hip-hop mogul, saying this was supposed to be Beyonce's time with her much anticipated country album out just 2 months ago, and yet she is nowhere to be seen. The album is slipping, and J and B aren't reveling in that spotlight, said a shocked source. Also, let's not forget the tea that just came out not too long ago, where The Dream, who's worked with Beyonce for years on Renaissance Act 1 and Act 2, he did Texas Hold'em and all other stuff. So The Dream is also being accused of SA and abuse of a protege of his. So there's that. And he's written and produced a lot of songs for Beyonce. Now, and insiders are muttering that it might be because wait, I'm talking about that. So they said that about a month before the March 29th release, Jay-Z got up at the Grammys and whined that Beyonce never got Album of the Year. And you know what? With all this stuff that's coming out, especially with The Dream, I think she might not get it again. They're gonna get that shit to Beyonce, like they always do, because she's just chasing them awards. It's not even about putting out quality music. Now she's just chasing awards. Now she's trying to break records. But now what? Does he think she will win for Cowboy Carter with no promotion, no appearances, and no wooing of the Academy? The source added that while the stunning record, which includes tracks with Dolly Parton, Willie Nelson, and Miley Cyrus, is far from a flop, it's definitely not the juggernaut everyone thought it would be. They added something is going on. It came out with a bang, #1 everywhere. Now it and she have disappeared. There has been scuttlebutt in the biz that the golden couple of music are laying low with their pal Diddy under fire. His homes in LA and Miami were raided in March by the Department of Homeland Security in what appears to be a sex trafficked investigation. Now, they said the Blueprint rapper and Diddy have been close for decades, though there is nothing to connect Jay and Beyonce to the investigation of any misconduct. And I also think what the tea has been going on with that is also because there's been stories going around about Beyonce possibly being groomed by Jay-Z that she got with him at a young age, similar to like Aaliyah and R. Kelly, and a lot of these things that's been going on with a lot of these young girls getting these relationships with these men that's pushing a certain age that are like 20, 30 years older. And, that whole sort of thing. Because that had me thinking also like with the whole not Jay-Z, with the whole Jennifer Ben Affleck situation. I was gonna bring that up on the show, but I was like, I'll say that for another time. That I was just thinking about Mark Anthony. Mark Anthony just revealed the name of his 1-year-old son that he had with his recent wife. The wife that the twins didn't go, to the wedding. I talked about that on TikTok, and that video's still blowing up. And how he's 30 something years older than his current wife, who is a beauty queen. The son's name is Marco, by the way. But I was sitting there thinking about that, and I'm like, are we not looking at this as like, okay, so the age gap situation? Because I think he and Jennifer Lopez are like a year apart. So that's what people are wondering, like, what's going on with Beyonce? And I'm curious as to what's going on with Beyonce too, because I'm sitting there like, you know what? I like the whole aesthetic of her jumping in the whole country space, and it seems like country is making a resurgence in a lot of places. Like we're seeing a lot more Black talent getting a lot of attention. So I will say this about Beyonce: Beyonce has definitely given us a situation where we're looking at her as she has kind of pushed open the door a bit for talent to come through, more Black talent to be acknowledged. and for us to understand, like, okay, so what's going on with that? So now I think it's also she's opened the door for people can see where she's, as a talent, where, who can I get into that is person of color. And I like that idea, but I do feel like that, you know what, you have to be out here like Taylor Swift and all these other girls. You really have to be out here promoting your stuff. You just being Beyonce is not enough to get people interested in you as a talent. So she really needs to kind of get out here and push Cowboy Carter. I mean, I don't know if maybe a tour should be able to do it. Quiet as it's kept, the fans already, their wallets are bleeding because it's just so much money they're having to shell out. And like I said the last time we told her Beyonce, I really feel like what she needs to do is don't tour until Act 3 comes out. Like if that's supposed to be the rock and roll album, that's what you need to be out here doing and possibly, promoting. That's what she needs to be doing in regards to that. So I hope it's not a whole situation with her where she's just going through it in regards of like, okay, so there could be some truth to the fact of the whole Diddy situation. Who hasn't encountered Diddy in the industry and all that other stuff? Like that's just a choice that, I mean, unfortunately, that a lot of people have had to deal with in, in this industry where they had to do that sort of thing. So I hope we hear from her soon. I just feel like at this point, Beyonce just don't be caring. She's like, you know what? I put out the music. I may not make no money through streaming or whatever the case is. I mean, which artist is, or I'm not so hungry like Taylor Swift is when it comes to having to constantly always try to break records and hit that peak and that strive and constantly release 55 different versions of the same damn album. Maybe she's like, you know what? I know the money's in touring. Like once I drop this tour, whatever the case is, like she hasn't given us a visual in over what, almost 2-3 years. We didn't get a visual for Act 1. We didn't get a visual for Act 2. So we're just getting, and her posting, as me going through her whole Instagram, as y'all see, I've been doing. It's like you posting a bunch of cowboy regalia on social media is not enough to get people interested in the music. And I'm going to be honest, like, I like the idea of Beyonce kind of taking a risk and going into the country space, but Cowboy Carter is not an album that I listen to repeatedly because that's not my judge. Like, country music is not my judge. Now, there's songs on the album, Sweet Honey Buckin'. Like, I like stuff like that. Like, if you're going to take country and you kind of just give it a twist, I'm all for that. But if you're trying to give me straight up, strumming a guitar, this ain't Texas, can't wear a hole. Like if you're giving me that, it's just like, okay, that's not enough for me to get invested. And I was hearing that song a lot when I was working a lot of these events because they had it playing on the jumbotron or whatever through the speakers, like the music throughout the arenas. Like when I have no choice when I have to listen to it there, but it's not something that I'm listening to. Um, in my whole situation. But if you can give me like a little different version of mix of country, kind of like what, like I said, I'm not into country, but I am into that song that Orville Peck has right now with Kylie Minogue. If you give me something different, or like what Madonna did with music, if you give me something like that, if it kind of mixes it with a genre of music that I like hip hop, electronic music, dance music, if you kind of give me a mashup of sorts, then I'm here for it. But if it's straight up country, where I gotta listen to like a Johnny Cash or a Dolly Parton or Reba McEntire, like it's not gonna, it's not gonna work for me. But I do love some of Dolly's stuff, like 9 to 5. Come on, I'm going off. Which I did hear that song yesterday that they were playing, before as the people were coming in to come see the Niall Horan show, as I was hearing 9 to 5. Well, that's a good damn song. So Dolly has some bops, but overall, like I said, country is not my genre, like my top genre that I listen to. So I asked you all, what do y'all think about this story? I mean, y'all think Beyonce is out here hiding for that reason regarding, you know, what's his name? With the whole Diddy thing. I don't think it has to do with Diddy. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I just feel like, when she dropped the album, she's more or less interested in raising them babies and being a wife and doing a lot of behind the scenes business stuff. So that's what she's focusing on right now. But yeah, it's just like I don't really feel like she really pushed and invested in this whole Cowboy Carter thing. It's just a lot of stuff that's been coming out, and she's kind of like just disappeared. We see Tina Knowles more speaking on behalf of her daughter, and Kelly Rowland knucking if you buck with people who be trying her on red carpets. Like, that's what we've been seeing. We ain't really been seeing Beyonce. But let me know what y'all think of this story down below.